Hey everybody, what we're going to be talking about today is dating someone that's in recovery when you're in recovery as well, or for short, recovery couples. We're going to talk about the pros of that, the cons of that, and some of the common pitfalls that happen to a lot of people. So with me today I have my girlfriend Chanda, my friend Derek, and his wife Ryan. Yes, Ryan, like a guy, but she's girl, I promise. Derek told me he checked.
Oh no.
So what we're I'll start by asking you guys, how long have you guys been together for?
Well, see, Jesus was in 3rd grade when we were
Shut the hell up.
13 years. 13 years. 14 almost.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Don't ask us. We're minuscule compared to that. We've known each other for a few years, though.
Yeah. So you guys have been together for 14 years?
Yeah.
14 years,
Known
bro.
each other for
How many
16 if we're
how many of those years were you guys in active addiction together?
Well, I've been clean for 4 years, so almost, I'd say the whole
On and
time.
off.
on and
so
off
much.
for about
11,
13
10.
years.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, that depends
if
on who
you-
you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So on and off for you was like 9 years pretty much.
9 years,
Yeah.
pretty much. I was a ridiculous beast when it came to my addiction. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, everything did not matter but my addiction. She was very subtle. She was maintained. I went to a job. I made my money. But I took.
So you were the functional addict in the relationship, and you were the raging addict.
I
just
was the
causing
guy who was
chaos.
the definition of addiction. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, if you want to know what an addict is, just like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I put one Percocet in my body. I'm stealing your house, your car, when I was single, your girlfriend, and shooting up heroin for weeks to come. But thankfully, I don't have to live that way today, and I have her, so that's good.
We've never been in active addiction together.
Well, thank God, because we would have killed each other. I
it would've
guarantee
been
it. It
awful.
would have been awful.
That's a fact.
So we've got two different perspectives that we're going to be coming from today. You know, couples that got together in recovery, pros and cons of that, and then couples that have made it out of addiction together into recovery, pros and cons of that. So I'll start first of all with you guys because I think it's a little bit more interesting because you guys have that like up and down. You know, so what would you say was the biggest struggle of being together in active addiction?
The biggest. Well, I'd have to ask her first because we both dabbled early on. Marijuana, ecstasy, you name it. We've tried just about everything. But I'd have to ask you, what was the biggest hurdle for you with me?
I think just having to be the sole provider, basically, our entire marriage. It's tough. It's hard. You have kids to take care of. If someone's stealing from you, it doesn't make it any easier. And being young and having a house and the bills that we had at the age that we were, I think that's the most difficult part with
Me.
So kind of just growing up and being responsible while
Not
being with a
having
drug
somebody
addict.
to help
Yeah.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
without any help at all.
My biggest hurdle with her, it's a totally different planet. So try to bear with me here because it's not the same. I was so extreme. I was addicted to everything, including religion, to a point where I wanted everyone to think about how I viewed God, how I viewed my theology, everything, the same way as me. And if you didn't, you were wrong. Mm-hmm. So when I came to my wife and approached her about her addiction, you're a drug addict. She didn't believe me. The same way I used to push everything else down her throat.
Yeah.
And she would turn to me and go, no. And she was in denial, which upset me because I knew about this one thing I was right, but she wouldn't accept it. And I finally, now that I've learned to have serenity and just realize I can't change people, I can barely change myself, I think it's time to just let things work themselves out. And I would remind her from time to time, but she really came to me at the end. The hardest part for me was her not accepting what I'm viewing her actions are saying. She's lying about it. She's sneaking it. Nothing I could do or say, she would do it. Her excuses were, well, I haven't stole, I haven't done all this, but come to find out, she started to lie later, and she finally came to a realization, you know what? I'm a high-functioning addict, though. But I am an addict nonetheless.
Yeah.
That was hard for me, man, because I know what an addict is, and
Yeah.
she's trying to give me these definitions. A drug addict is someone like that guy under the bridge, and I'm like...
When you're with someone who pushes things down your throat constantly, whether it be about addiction or, religion, whatever it may be, I even went to my doctor and said, hey, my husband's a recovering addict. This is an issue, because I was prescribed my medication. I was prescribed Percocet. I was prescribed Adderall. And told him how my husband thought I was an addict, and he's like, there's no way. There's no way. He is putting that on
your
you.
doctor would.
So when they do that, that even, and
Justify.
all my family members, they're all addicts. And I'm the one person who can keep things together. So none of them view me that way. So they all told me, you're not an addict.
So you had to come to your own conclusion, though,
Right,
right?
when I-
like without being forced to look at it, you were
Right,
able to
so
look at it.
in a way I justified it, and I didn't feel that way because so many people would tell me I wasn't, other than him or his family, his
I was
point
like,
of
you
view.
don't
You know
live
what I
with
mean?
her.
And so, not until I really did try to get off of it, and then I started doing things like that I would never do in my right mind, to him, or to, just not being there for the kids or whatever it may be. I had to learn on my own. It doesn't matter like how many times he tells you.
I think
know on
what
your
I
own.
did is and it runs in the family, it's a family thing. When her brother's locked up for meth and heroin, her father for manufacturing and distributing heroin, he's got strike 3. Her sister's been in and out of mental institutes and stuff, padded rooms and stuff, because there's mental health issues there, on top of addiction, which she's been on and off of Suboxone or pain meds. Then on top of that, her mother, alcohol. She's had one of her organs removed because of alcohol. And, everyone in her family.
Grandmother, she was like the drug dealer.
And then, we used to go
Your
to
grandma was a drug dealer.
She was.
Fentanyl
when she
patches.
was alive,
Your grandma was slanging
Percocet
fentanyl
too.
patches?
patches.
Patches? Wow.
Yeah, all of it.
Damn,
And at the
Granny
end
was
of
a baller.
Yeah,
At the
she
end of the
worked
day,
at a
I'd go,
bar all the way till she
Really?
died, yeah.
Oh,
Everyone in her family's been touched. And I'm like, and you're telling me
that you're
you're
different.
taking the damn drugs. You're on them.
Look, I'm the most normal
But you're
one out of
not.
the family, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, basically.
It was like, and it frustrated me so bad. But I think my extreme personality really did damage to just, how can you deal with someone like me? I went from growing my beard, becoming like the
ridiculous.
Reformed Protestants, literally became a Protestant of a Reformation church that was going towards like, the Puritans, the guys who were like against music and like, I was going
It
down
was
a bad
very
path.
extreme.
I
Like,
actually relate to that because I did when I was 19. Like, I don't talk about it too much, but I got you. So,
What about you
overly
guys though?
religious at 19?
extremely, like you would not believe.
But you guys have a different dynamic, so I want to ask you guys, since you get a little bit of ours.
Yeah.
Okay, both of you are strong-willed people. Okay, first of all, very, very, you're alpha in both aspects. Okay, you guys are outgoing. You guys both have similar artistic skills. You have so much in common. How has it been in your relationship, being you have that much in common? And is there like a race? Do you feel competitive sometimes in recovery? You guys do so much good, help so many people. Go into some details, just kind of freestyle it. You know what I mean? Because I want to hear more from you guys.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel in competition with him at all. I feel like when he grows, I grow. But the hardest adjustment for me has been actually being in a healthy relationship. Because I really never have been in one, so I'm like waiting for, well, when is he going to screw me over? Or when is this going to happen or that I'm so used to those forms of, I wouldn't say abuse, but just come to expect negative things. And it's been a hard adjustment. Actually, it's weird. It's hard to adjust to something healthy and good for you.
That's a lesson for anybody to learn in recovery when you're getting into a relationship in recovery is, what does a healthy relationship actually feel like? Because when we're in active addiction, all of our relationships are incredibly unhealthy and not good for you. So, I would agree with Chanda. Like, I don't feel in competition with her at all. Like, we're a team, and like I said this to her the other day, like you're literally the only person I've ever felt like, like I'm trying to make you better because it feels like I'm making me better, like we grow together, like how you said that. So that's been really cool. You would think we'd drive each other crazy being so similar, but it actually just vibes like really well, because we are so similar. It's like crazy how similar we are in so many ways. So, I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We have our ups and downs, and I think, the pro and the con of recovery kind of go hand in hand. Of being in a relationship with someone in recovery, the pros and cons kind of go hand in hand in this, is that when you're with somebody that's in recovery, they know your struggle. They know what you go through, right? Whether that's your mental health issues, whether that's, cravings for people earlier in recovery. They know what it's like to be an addict. They know your pain and what you went through. So you can relate to that, and it helps a lot. I've dated women that were normal, not in recovery, and it didn't work for me. I didn't relate to them enough. I was just too different. But with her, she relates to that. She knows my pain. I know her pain. Now, on that same token, we both have to deal with each other's ups and downs, like our mental health, right? So we both do a lot to manage and take care of our mental health. But sometimes, like on her bad days, like it gets really bad. And then, sometimes like I might be having a day or two where I'm feeling depressed and I'm just laying around not doing anything. So,
Well, like a big thing, right, is Richie started addressing like a lot of his mental health before I did, right? I just, I got out of my marriage and realized, oh my God, I went through almost 5 years of recovery on my own. I did it without any treatment, without any counseling meetings or anything. And then when like my stability crumbled, what I was used to, right? For like 10 years I was in this relationship, I realized I'd never addressed any of my underlying issues. And they all came out because my aunt had just died a few months before my marriage ended. All of these things like hit at once. And then he got the storm of it, right? So like literally as I'm trying to address all of these things that were actually wrong with me, all the reasons I actually used 5 years ago,
Right.
It was difficult because he's pointing out things to me, and I think the more that things are pointed out to me, the more I tend to focus on them and get consumed with them. And like recently, he's taught me how to do a lot of things I would have never done for myself. Like got me into EMDR therapy. We do the affirmations, all of these things we do together. At first, I didn't feel like it was helping me because my issues are just being addressed constantly. But now I'm finally like being able to see, well, this is where it's working. And once he kind of stepped back from putting his finger on the issues and pointing them out, like, and giving me room to kind of grow, because he's learning me. We're learning each other. So he's learning what's working with me and vice versa. Like now all of these practices are actually helping me. I feel like the EMDR is, and like I credit a lot of my growth to him for sure. But it's been a lot of learning each other's mental health, for sure.
No, it definitely has, and I think anybody that's in a relationship, whether it's recovery or from mental health or addiction or whatever it may be, you have to learn how to, like, live with each other through that.
Yeah.
So, like she said, I had a pretty big head start on her that, like, I really buckled down on my mental health and got big into the EMDR. I started floating every week, which is in a sensory deprivation tank. If you don't know what it is, Google it, or I might do another video on it. I started doing that, and I started doing these positive affirmations every day. So when we finally got together,
I was messed up and he was good.
I was like at a really, like, the best point I've ever been at in my life, like the best version of me, right? And she just, got out of a bad marriage, going through like a custody battle. Her aunt had just passed away, and just learning how to deal with all these things without drinking or drugging or anything like that, right?
Self-harm, I used to do all of these
Self-harm,
things.
yeah, and she had just been kind of like, as the term goes in 12-step program, she'd been dry for a long time. Now, her difference is, from what I understand, like, she's very, very connected to God, and I think that's what kept her going through her recovery through all this time. But it's like this for anybody. You can go on for 4 years and be okay and make it, but if you don't address your mental health issues, it's going to bite you in the ass eventually. And so now she's trying to fix it and work on it, and then we're trying to respect each other's boundaries. Like, I want to be here for her, but she's, it's really good with her, like, she respects my boundaries too. So, like, if I'm having a really hard day, like depressed, and she goes into a dark place, she understands that, it's not my job to be there and fix her automatically. It's my job to be there and support her and have her back, but it's not my job to fix her. She has to do that herself.
Yeah, I never looked at him like he's gonna fix me, right? But, I went from 10 years of, and this is no offense to my ex, we weren't meant for each other, of basically numbness, right? Came out and felt all these negative things, but then I felt such love that it awoke kind of like when you get off drugs and you feel everything.
Yeah.
Because I felt such an intense love and joy with him, I also felt intense dark feelings towards everything else I'd been masking and covering up. So I just started feeling again, but like super intense, because we are super intense, him and I. So that's been an adjustment. Wow, that was a lot of
Yes,
time.
they are.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry guys, we
They
did
are.
not talking.
No,
Hopefully it's interesting.
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I was trying to fix her. You know, it ain't
And
gonna work.
I want to jump in here real quick and keep going on that, but I just want to jump in. Like, how many of you guys, let me know in the comments down below, how many of you guys relate to this, that when you were in active addiction, or if you are in active addiction, maybe this will be a realization for you. How many of you guys try and fix your significant other or other people, but you're still getting high, you're still using, you're still doing all this stuff, and you're trying to tell them how to live their life?
I
How
think I
crazy is
heard
that?
an old saying, why do you point out the speck in
yeah,
your
with-
brother's eye?
with the
but you
plank
got
There's a
your own.
plank in it. Imagine just a big plank in your eye. Like, that's what I always thought that Bible verse was so weird. Because imagine walking around with a giant plank sticking out of your eye. That'd be trippy.
It's funny, and that's kind of an affirmation. I think if you even listen to things like that, those are wisdom sayings. And like, just thinking about that and stopping for a second, you know what? Because I can't tell you how many times when I caught her, or she'd admit, and I get mad at her, dude. I'm talking mad. Like, pissed off at her. I'd be like, you fucking, what'd you do? What'd you fuck up and do? You know, and I get angry, point at her. There were the moments, though, that I stopped for a moment. I was able to think before I acted, and I'd grab her by the head, and I'd bash her to the wall. No, I'm just kidding. I'd grab her by the head, right?
Who did I bring on this video?
Cut it. No. I'd grab her by the head, and I'd look at me. I love you no matter what. We're going to make it through this. And then everything fell when love came in the picture. Everything melted away. And she knew she could tell me everything. Okay, I've been lying. I've been using for 2 months. I went to my doctor. This is what's going on. Okay, cool. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna get past this. And that's affirmation too. Like, we are not. I think we're gonna.
Try. No,
we are gonna make it. And those affirmations are true. But we didn't think, let's talk affirmations. It just came like inside. It had to come out, because if not, our marriage wouldn't make it. We've done this for years, guys. I'm talking about years. And for those of you watching, this has been an up and down roller coaster for me and Ryan. My dad told me, there's one thing you got to change, son. And I'm like, what? He says, everything. And I was like, damn, it's deep. But they say you want to change the world, change you, and the whole world changes. And it's a fact. My whole perception has changed. So when that happened, my whole family started getting better. It's still got a lot of work. We still got things we got to do. I don't clean up enough. We're not as organized. Got to get on a schedule. I get depressed sometimes, but I'm hogging all the talk. But
No, it's very
I'm used to
interesting,
it.
very relatable to us in ways I don't think you realize. So, yeah. And probably to a lot of other people out there.
You have to uplift each other, and I think that a lot of times relationships, people forget to do that. And that's really, I think, what's made it to where me and Derek has got as far as we do, you know, in our relationship, is because he has always wanted the best for me and positive, never like aggressive. I was in a long relationship before him that was physically and verbally abusive, so I wasn't used to it either. So getting with him was an adjustment to me. My mom was in multiple relationships that were all dysfunctional. My family I came from a dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
So being in something normal was not reality to me. You know what I mean?
she was expecting me to be the ex. Just like you were expecting him to yell at you at some point. Like, when's he going to snap on me? When's he going to scream at me? Or when's he going to say negative things all the time? And you were like, it's okay, sweetheart. And she's probably like, this is not normal. Something's wrong. Where's the meanie? You know, where's the asshole? Where's the pessimist? You know?
There are still good guys out there. You know what I mean? And when you find them, you can't always just wait for that bad thing to happen. You know? So it took me a long time to learn that too.
And I think a lot of it is just finding the right person too, because me and Chanda will be the first ones to tell you, like,
We were awful to
we did not treat
other
our
people.
exes well. You know what I mean? But we didn't feel this way about them. We just weren't meant for them. It's not that they were less than or we're better than them. It's just we were not meant for them. It took a very special person. Literally, this is the only woman that would have made it happen to make me be the best man that I can be, to treat her the way that a woman deserves to be treated. And I assume vice versa.
Yeah.
For you as
we
well.
have a healthy respect for each other because we are both very dominant, and we know that we either have the ability to build each other in great ways or absolutely destroy each other in many ways.
And
We respect that. We
Yeah, we respect
that
it very
a lot.
much because we both know like we're not the ones to mess
Yeah,
with.
we are
We
not.
wouldn't want to mess with each other because it would be bad. But instead, we take that potential for chaos and negativity and we put it into something positive. And because of that, you know, some of you guys that have been following us for a while, you see a lot of these really incredible things that we're starting to do.
Exactly.
And we're starting to branch out and work with other people and build a team, like having you guys with us, you know.
I'm realizing why they're here now that we're having this conversation. Weird synchronicities in life, and when what you put out there will attract. I don't know.
Yeah,
But that's
no,
what's
for
been
sure.
happening with us. Powerful, incredible things.
We're starting to like get this group of people together, right? That are just doing like moving mountains, literally in recovery, and you know
And
together,
other areas too.
recovery, music, just social media, everything, right? Just a group of people that are all you know so proactive in making change in
Driven.
the world
Yeah.
to make it a better place. And now we're kind of like building this team where we're like a force, for lack of a better term, good in the world, and it's a really amazing thing to see.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy
It
when you let
really
it
is.
sink in.
You
Especially
guys-
from where everyone comes from. You know?
Yeah, and when you think about it, you know, oh, here's Ritchie Weber. I'm a 5-time felon. Locked myself in a Speedway bathroom because I thought the world was ending. You crashed your car because you wanted to get
I
painkillers.
thought the world wasn't. Whatever. Oh, hello.
Let me crash it. Oh no!
I pretended there was a deer.
Did
Oh
you pretend
my
it was?
No, I mean I told the police and everything, and I like slammed on brakes and made sure to like swerve as if there was a deer because I knew they were gonna look at the tire marks. And I was like, burn. And I remember when I was
That's
doing it,
insane.
this is an awful idea.
You know the worst part was I think she didn't even get pills for it.
I got a shot of Dilaudid.
She
That was
got
all I
one
got.
shot
No
of
prescription,
Dilaudid.
no
No
nothing.
script.
One shot
Crack.
of Dilaudid.
No car, but she got one shot of Dilaudid.
That's funny.
Oh my god.
What'd that
Did
do,
you tell
do
us
for
that
you?
story?
So I just
Dilaudid
was
nothing?
not sick too much. You want me to tell you that story?
Didn't you say? Where did I hear that story?
You heard it on
Probably
her,
CG Kids.
her live the other day. She kind of went more in depth about the crash in the car story. I almost said the core. Man,
I'm
see,
rubbing
I've
off
been
on it.
I've been with her for so long. I'm starting to pick up this weird New York accent. I
You
just
know
say
it's
weird
cool.
stuff.
You-
It
It's
was
got
one of your
flavor.
I say
lives when
weird
you were picking
stuff.
him up from the airport. I was watching it,
Oh,
and
that,
you went
yeah.
to a different hospital.
Yeah.
Saw the same doctor
that
that
was
one.
so
Yes,
embarrassing.
that's right.
Yeah,
It
great.
wasn't
I'm like, I know I
Embarrassing
heard that
things.
story. Where did I hear the story?
Wow.
I want to ask you guys now. I want to hear about a positive thing that's been from your relationships. So, how would you feel like in this grand journey of chaos that you've had together, right? Through the depths of addiction, through denial, through freaking crazy guy with a Puritan beard. You know, what has that done for your relationship now? Like sticking it out. What has it done for you?
You want me to go first? You go first. You go first.
It's made us realize, like, with everything we've gone through, we can get through anything together. We've literally been through everything together, you know, and we've tried to separate. You know, when there's that attraction, it's just there. There's no denying it. There's no going around it. Like, it's just there. It's natural. You know, it all comes naturally. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned.
For me, I never knew who I was. Never. I had 3 kids, still didn't know who I was. I was religious, I didn't know who I was. I was a biker, skateboarder. I was in every sport under the sun. I was a wrestler in high school. I was very similar to you. I did jiu-jitsu. I was in taekwondo. I did a lot of martial arts. I never knew who I was. I found drugs and I thought I found out who I was. Drugs helped me discover who I was, but they helped me discover who I was by breaking. I had to break to really put the pieces back together, and she was with me through it all. So the best way I can describe everything that we've been through is that I'm a strange person, and I'm okay with that. And this woman loves me for who I am, no matter how weird and indifferent I am from the rest of the world, and I'm always going to be different. But that's what makes me Derek Lambert.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you Richie, and that's what makes you Chanda, and that's what makes you Ryan. And I think that's what, to me, through all the flaws that I still have, she looks through all of them, and she looks in my eyes, and she knows, you're my king. Always have been. You know what I mean? I'm satisfied to say I love every flaw about her. I get on to her because she's like negative on herself, but I'm like, dude, you don't even realize how beautiful you really are. You know. So it's a fact, but you hit a deep part there. I want to ask you the same thing, even though you haven't known each other that long. You probably felt like you know each
But
other.
they've known each other.
We've known each other for a couple of years, but we've only been together for like a few months, like officially.
But it's still there from the time you guys met. I'm sure
Not even that long. Yeah, what do you want to ask us again?
Well, it's going to be phrased a little different in
Yeah.
a short amount of time. I'm sure you feel like you've known each other longer because you guys go deep.
I believe we were like one entire piece, and we talk about this like a lot. Like we were one entity that was separated that found its way to each other. I don't even mean that in a cheesy way. Just the very bizarre things that have aligned with us. I think that's like incredible. Like we wake up together, and I don't know if a lot of people understand what that means, but like we
wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah.
And they go to bed together too. Together.
Oh, she said you go to bed together too.
If that's
Don't
true.
know what you're
I had to
talking
throw that in
about.
there. I'm sorry.
But I mean, going to what Chanda said about waking up together, like for those that don't know, in a nutshell, those that know, you know, but in a nutshell, it just means that we bring out the best parts in each other. We come together and, you know, become the best versions of ourselves together. And we create some incredible things. And she drives me to do things that I've never done before. Like, you know, those of you that follow my channel, you'll see, like, I'm writing poetry now. I'm putting poetry out there. I'm doing songs with her. I'm being more creative. I'm talking like I am now. I'm opening up parts of myself that I was always too afraid to show to the world. Even though I might have had millions of people that seen my stuff previously, I never really was able to show who I really am. Well, she looked at me and still loved me for me, so I was like, oh, well, I'll give it a shot. Let people know who I am. And on the flip side, you know, I know I'm able to do that for her.
What
in a lot
you've
of
done
ways.
for me, I mean, you've done that. I think what you've more done for me is turned my eyes inward to take a look at what I really am. Like, you challenged my beliefs about me, right? So I've always been very self-deprecating. I still am. I'm coming out of it. But he's never once like cut me down or said anything, you know, negative about me or intentionally tried to make me feel bad about myself. And he would challenge my beliefs that I had about myself that were negative to a point where I'm not nearly as self-deprecating, or I don't feel like I'm going to hell because I left an unhappy situation. I'm always able to look at other people's problems and and other people's strengths and the good things about them, and I never really had somebody point out those things about me. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way about her a lot of times. Like with us, we're literally like mirrors for each other.
Yeah,
You know, like
that's a
I
good
can
way.
see what's wrong in me and her, and she can see what's wrong in her and me, and then vice versa. I can see the most beautiful things in the world in her and see it through her, but then realize that's me as well. And she's just opened me up in so many different ways, brought me out of my shell. You know, and it's amazing to have a person that I can grow with in so many different ways. You know, like we got our song coming out. Like I would have never done something like that if it wasn't for you. You know, she pushed me to write. She helped me write. We're sitting there rapping together. She's helping me rap and stuff. And that's something like I really love to do. I love to make music. I love to write. And it's something that I kind of buried for years and years and just focused on work and on helping people and not expressing myself. And she's really brought that out in me, and I'm like really grateful for
when
it.
I met Richie, I was like, this is a little aluminum can of clams that I'm just gonna pry open. I always call him a clam, so I saw who he really was, right? Like the rest of the world didn't get to see it, so I've been like trying to get him to show it, and it's changed things as well. Like you already had it in you, you do have it in you. Excuse me, I've been sick. Like this is
No,
what
I've noticed ever since she's done that, like since I've opened up myself, like everything's like really, so many more doors have opened, you know, just when I've been like able to be real and authentic. And part of that goes, and I'll not go super deep into this, it's other videos that I've done, but part of that goes, and we had conversations about this early on, you know, part of that was, you know, when I lost my ex to an overdose 3 years ago. You know, like I literally like died inside. Like I completely closed off to the world, you know. I was just going through the motions, and literally helping people was the only thing that kept me alive. I never thought I'd find a love like her ever again. But even before I met her, you know, I started to heal myself. I did the EMDR, all that stuff, and I finally made peace with her death so that I could be ready to love somebody again. I wasn't ready to before that. And then I found her, and I said, oh my God, there is love like this out there, and believe it or not, it's actually even better. It's something I never thought I would have found. Like, we laugh and say, like, man, like all those cliches, like they're actually true. I feel that way.
Yeah, we
So
feel
weird.
cheesy
They
together.
really do love
saying
me.
it.
Like
Yeah.
the M&M commercial. Sorry, that's been on my mind.
Oh no, we're on camera.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's so much that we're learning. First of all, a lot of people who've watched my channel, they think Derek's Superman or something. And cold turkeyed on my couch, like you, did it by myself. I did go to meetings though, but I mean, it was like, I don't know, I did it. I was self-motivating to do it. Whereas most people relapse early on. This time I tried quitting. I actually did it and I just followed through. I didn't go to treatment or nothing. However, I don't want that to be the example set because less than 1% people actually make it like that.
Yeah, you're the exception to the rule. You know, for 99% of people that try and detox on their own, they fail. They fail.
I know I'm part of the 1% because that was awful.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, though, that I feel like Derek was more successful this time because, you know, the person you're closest to, you know, the energies do affect you, if that makes sense. So before, when he would try to quit, yeah, I wanted him to get clean, but I didn't understand why he was doing the things he was doing. Didn't support him the way that I could have, but I didn't know that, you know. So when he got involved, and I wanted to understand him more, so I started going to AA. Because remember, I was not an addict at this time.
You were like, I need to be an Al-Anon, not AA.
Yeah,
Like,
I
need
didn't
be
want to go to
the
Al-Anon. I wanted to
supporters.
go to AA because I wanted an NA because I wanted to understand
What he was going through.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did, and I started accepting that I was an addict at that point because I did quit all my medications and that kind of thing because I didn't want to be a temptation to him. But of course, I still hadn't really accepted it. So, anyways, long story short, I do think that helped him because I wasn't so like, why are you going to another meeting? You got to go to 3 meetings a day, you know, because that's how I was at first. And then I started getting involved with him, and it made it more exciting for him, and it made it different. You know what I mean?
I remember the first time. Okay, so bringing up our relationship stuff, which is the point of this, and this is amazing. You guys are
Yeah,
probably
I'm posting this on my YouTube though too. Like we're all using this.
Yeah.
I want the whole thing. I think people are really gonna watch it.
This is funny. So we used to fight, and I'm not exaggerating. I can remember it every day. Not tomorrow. No, day after tomorrow we're gonna fight. Right? Every day we fought. I was in active addiction at the end, and I'm talking about she had to kick me out of the house. I was living on couches. I was homeless. At the end, I broke into our own house, stole kids' TVs and shit. Acted like someone else broke. She knew who it was because I took this TV. Just
So you broke in your own house and stole your own kids'
Your
TVs?
kids'
He said this.
Oh my
Him
god!
and the guys he was
Damn,
with.
you were a real life addict.
I
weren't you?
was.
Listen,
This
this is how bad it was. Him and the couple he was running with. I was at work. They went and stole my big screen TV.
Kicked the
they
door in.
took it to the pawn shop. They knew they didn't have that thing back.
Oh, she was gonna.
I would put them all in jail. I didn't give a shit.
So
at
we
that
went,
point, you
took
know?
this TV, went to the pawn shop, pawned it, to get the dope money back,
So that they could
go
go
get
work.
the dope, go find a job to do landscaping as quick as we could, get the money, go back, get the TV out of the pawn shop, and put it back in the house.
Oh my god!
And it was
Yeah.
back. I had no clue.
She had no clue.
I had no clue.
There are
You
a
got
lot of
dope.
things that. Hang on, let me grab my coffee. This is.